Hey, what is happening? I am so glad you made it to the live stream of consciousness because that's where you are. The live stream of consciousness. That's right. My happy place. I'm Michael Zinn. I created this happy place as a place to talk to people and have amazing conversations and spread goodness and make ripples and that kind of thing. And it's actually working. I actually have made some ripples. There is a viewer of the show that you guys see every once in a while. Hey, Helen Wagner's here. What's up, Helen? Jill Ixer. She has been watching the show, and we became friends, and we've been communicating. And I actually had her help me do photographs at the Great South Bay Festival a couple of weeks ago, and she returned the gratitude in the form of this beautiful bracelet that she made. So I want to show it to everybody. Here we go. I don't really wear jewelry usually, but when she posted it online, I was like, "Oh, I really like that." And she's like, "Oh, that's funny because I wanted to make one for you and give it to you as gratitude for having me shoot the Great South Bay Festival." So there you go. Some amazing ripples that we are making that is just making me feel so warm. Thank you guys for coming and watching this stuff and co-creating these conversations. I look back and I see some of the guests that we've had in conversations, and I'm just so grateful for what has been created here. So again, thanks for being here. Oh, and there she is. Jill is here. She's made her popcorn. She's ready for the live stream. Awesome. Jill, you are going to love my guest today. I don't know if you're aware of who he is, but last week I had Karen Garvey on, who is one of my mentors. I've worked with her, and she's just an amazing being, as you guys saw last week. And it was so awesome to catch up with her and talk to her. And my guest today is actually her husband, which is really cool because I think you don't find that. You do find it once in a while, but not all the time. These great duos who come together, people who are both very high vibration and work well together and make ripples and help people and really make a difference. So his name is Stryker Corbin. He is a hypnotherapist, a motivational speaker, a life coach, and so much more. And we're going to talk to him. I'm just going to say hello to Ninja Kitty. What's up, Ninja Kitty? And I'm going to bring him on. Hey, what is up, Stryker Corbin?
Hey, Michael, how are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited that you're here. I'm feeling really pumped up. I don't know. I'm not usually this animated and excited, but you are somebody who I've always wanted to have a conversation with. We actually haven't had like a lengthy conversation. We spoke on email a few times, just kind of having met through the degree of separation of Karen. And I love what you're doing, and so I think I reached out once to you to say hello and just kind of see what you're about. But here I am a year later doing this broadcast and manifesting a reason to actually have that conversation with you.
All right. Well, I'm glad we finally get to do this. That's great then.
Totally. So I'm going to let you talk about yourself and what you do, because you can do it much better than I can. But first, I'm going to put you through some of the paces of the show. This is the live stream of consciousness. I do like to get in some deep conversations, but I also like to have some just simple conversations about it. But it is all about spirituality and consciousness. So my favorite question is, what is your definition of consciousness?
Well, first of all, I just want to apologize. People are saying hello in the chat, and I can't figure out how to respond and say hello back.
You can't respond, but you could respond like this. Okay, so this is how it works. I can put up their comments, and you could see people talking to each other and welcoming you. Welcome, Stryker.
Yeah, thank you.
I love your name. I actually want to talk about your name because I know there's a lot of intention behind it, which I love. Yeah. Everybody knows you're here, and welcome, and thank you for acknowledging them.
Cool, very cool. And so your question was what? What's my definition of consciousness?
What is consciousness?
Consciousness to me, and maybe it's an unpopular term these days, is people have claimed people are using it like an insult when they're calling people woke. or awake. And to me, I'm not sure why that's an insult to
I don't
say
know how
someone's
that
awake.
happened. Yeah, how the hell did that
Um,
happen?
to be conscious, to be awake, to be consciousness recognizes the fact that we're all part of some divine spark. We're all created from that same source energy, and that consciousness flows through each one of us. And I guess different level. You can be aware of it. The more you want to be aware of it. But some people are living, what I would say, asleep, is the opposite end of woke. They're living asleep, not aware of that consciousness, not aware of that energy, not aware that their thoughts and their emotions create their reality, not
Right.
aware that what they believe becomes reality, not aware that how I treat others has a bearing, that it's not, a dog eat dog world, that it's not, I got mine, screw you. There is an interconnectivity between consciousness between all of us. And that energy is something I see all the time when I work with my clients one-on-one or I give presentations. Energy is real. And that consciousness demonstrates the fact that we are all connected and we are all we're all on this journey together. And so for me, it's just being awake and being aware of, yes, you matter. Every one of us matters, but everyone else matters as well. We all matter together. It's like maybe it's a cheesy analogy, but it is a great analogy with like the idea of a snowstorm. That every single flake is so vastly different and so individualistic. Yet together we're part of the greater snowstorm. So that's how I see things. We are together. The individual matters, and the collective matters. It's a rather complicated answer to a simple, maybe not so
No, that
simple
you know
question.
what? That is my favorite answer, and I am in love with the passion that you're speaking through about it because it's I think to you and me it's a very simple concept to understand that everything is an energy exchange. Everything is an energy exchange. Energy is flowing through the universe, and that is consciousness.
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
and I love the visual that you gave it, where the consciousness kind of flows between us. Like it's actually, I kind of saw this light, kind of a snake, going through everybody, but that was really just a metaphor for that happening in an instant. So that happens
Hmm.
every moment. That's happening everywhere. And
Right.
it was just a good visual. I really liked it. And again, I'm just loving everything that you're saying about it. I totally agree with it. And also the cool thing about that question is the answers I get are different, but they're all the same. You know what I mean? And
Mm.
it's like sometimes it comes from the collective, perspective. Sometimes it comes from the I am perspective. It's kind of, it's kind of mix and match. But I love again. I think you gave the most passionate answer to the question. So I love that.
Oh, good. I'm
So
happy I could do that at 9 p.m. That's pretty good. Usually I'm starting to doze off about this time, but I think your theme music at the beginning kind of got me pumped up and psyched up. So I'm feeling good.
you know what? I can't even believe you said that because I was listening to the music and I'm like, I want to ask people on the show if they like the music because I want to see if it gets them pumped up or if it's too loud and obnoxious. And I forgot to ask it, and you brought it up. That's amazing. Totally amazing.
I say go for it. It worked for me.
I love it. Cool. So before we get into who you are and what you do and how you might possibly be able to help me, but talking about the stuff that you do, um, I want to talk about that. Like you mentioned, uh, all of a sudden woke seemed to be like there's a negative connotation to being woke, which I
Hmm.
completely don't understand. You know what I mean? Especially when you say, well, what's the opposite of being awoke? Being asleep, being awake and being asleep. It's like, why would you want to live that way if that's if you're talking about a modality of living? Oh, you're woke. That's bad. Yeah, I don't get it. But um, the other question that I ask all the guests is to just tell me your story, and it could be the long version, the short version, whatever you want, about awareness. There had to be a moment, and maybe there wasn't. Maybe you were born this way and you felt this way the whole time, but where you said, I was shown that this is reality is a certain way, but all of a sudden I know somehow
Yeah.
in my gut that there's more to it.
Right. 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 Well, look, I was raised in a Catholic family. My parents were deeply religious. I think they go to church 7 days a week if they could. Uh, but it just didn't take for me. I didn't get it. Even as a 10-year-old kid, I just felt there was too much hypocrisy there. Love, 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 but not those people, not that time of day. It didn't make any sense. And hypocrisy doesn't really register well with me. And at a certain stage in life, you get to a point where you just really, for me, it was I wanted to get the answers to the questions of what do I believe and why do I believe it? Like, what the hell are we doing here? Is it just random chaos? You're just born one day, and some people are born lucky, some people are born unlucky. I certainly never believed the idea that there was a judgment where you had to go through your life and then get judged by some god at the end of life and he'd send you to eternal hell. I mean, especially not an all-knowing, omnipotent, all-loving God. What kind of God is that? That doesn't make any sense to me. So I wanted to know what's it all about, and I really went after those answers to what are we doing here? And to my, I guess now I'm not surprised, but I was surprised at the time. There were some incredible, really very credible sources that, to me, answered those questions. And for me, and no one ever has to believe a thing I believe. I think people should be independent thinkers. Think for yourself.
Sure.
And that's one of the problems I have with religion. Religion doesn't ask you to think for yourself. Religion says, we will do your thinking for you, and you will follow what we tell you to believe. And I'm out. I'm not doing that.
Right.
Spirituality for me is, you do your own thinking. It's more of an internal thing.
Right.
And so when you go after those questions of what do you believe and why do you believe it, get tons of sources that convince you, or convinced me, and I think I'm a pretty rational, intelligent guy, that there is clearly more to life than meets the eye. But you don't have to believe what I say. You can always test for yourself. Anyone can walk the path I walked. I will tell people the books I read right from day one to figure this all out. And you just test. I remember going back, God, it's got to be maybe 25, maybe 30 years ago now. It's going back a ways. But the first book I ever read on the law of attraction, I never even heard of the law of attraction, was a book called Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting by Lynn Grabhorn. And, when I read that book, it's written on a 4th grade reading level. And I read it, and I didn't know if I believed it. I didn't throw my arms up in the air and say, hallelujah, I found the answers. But I liked, Michael, I liked the way the book made me feel.
Right.
And when I read it, it just put me in a good, optimistic mood. And I was beginning to think about starting my own business and going into business as a professional speaker and growing that. And, all I did was test. I just tested it. And to this day, when I work with clients, I give them simple tests that they can begin to, walk their path in regards to opening up their own awareness or opening up their own consciousness, or discovering, that they are more powerful than they may have been led to believe. Right. So it just started with reading some simple books, and one book leads to another. And then, you start to really determine the fact that, for me, truth resonates. You can tell truth. And we all have that truthometer. I always use the example, Michael, if you ask me, you say you're having a problem with someone at work, and I say, you got a problem with somebody, you know what? Next time you see that guy, Michael, you walk up to him and you punch him in the face. Yeah. And you'd be like, oh, I don't really think that's okay, but I don't think that's good advice. Right. But if I said to you, I said, Michael, look, you know what? Everybody just wants to know that they matter. And the next time you meet that guy, just find something, anything you can to appreciate about that guy. Maybe you like his glasses, or that he's a good dad, or he dresses well, or he's always on time. You find something to appreciate, and you make that person earnestly feel appreciated. You can't just pick something arbitrary that you don't feel. Say, oh, I like your tattoos, and you really don't. But if you make someone feel valued, you make them feel appreciated, you may not find that they like or connect with you the first time, but if you continue to take the high ground, and you continue to make people feel like they matter time and time again, they will ultimately come back to you and say, oh my God, Michael, I'm so glad you're here. All these other people are knuckleheads, but I know I can hang with you, or talk with you, or relate to you. Right. And so my point is not to tell you how to treat people. My point is that when I tell you those two different examples of how to deal with difficult people or difficult co-workers, whatever, you have a truthometer that you can tell. The first suggestion I gave you was just nonsense and liable to land you in more trouble. Right. And the second makes good sense. The second is like, you know what, that's actually practical, good advice. And when you hear the truth, it resonates. And when you're on the path doing something you enjoy, something you love, something that feels passionate, joy, you feel it. Your emotions are your barometer. You know when you're doing the right thing. You know when you're following your heart's content, and you know when you're not.
Yeah.
But every one of us makes 1,000 decisions every single day. How we think, how we feel, how we act. Do I eat right? Do I go to the gym or not? Do I do this or not? And many people, Michael, I'm jumping ahead, but many people are living life on autopilot. There's
Absolutely.
living life on autopilot.
No, absolutely. I was
And
going to say, that unfortunately, a lot of people wouldn't think that was bad advice. Your first suggestion, they would be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go show that guy, like how dare he treat me that way?" And that's the big problem. So you're not jumping ahead. You're on target, man. I love everything that you're saying. You're It's like when you're saying these things, it's like this is exactly how I feel. So you're expressing. I love your ability to express it because it's really coming through loud and clear what you're saying. And I feel like anybody watching and listening can be like, oh, you know what? I've been in that situation. I get it. I always talk about the most simple interaction. You're so on target. The most simple interaction that happens every day, many times every day, is, hey, how you doing? And
Mhm.
you have the power, and my regular viewers are going to be like, oh, not this story again. You have the power at that moment to say, I'm awesome. And that's the test. I tell people, I say, try this. And so many people have come back to me and said, I tried that. I said I'm awesome. And immediately I see people either smile or they react somehow to like, oh, why are you awesome? And you've had this energy exchange now where you've both raised each other's vibration just by saying you're awesome. And
Mhm.
you also brought up a good point about you have to be real about it. So I said, I don't always wake up feeling awesome. So if I'm in that moment when someone says, hey, how you doing? And I want to say I'm awesome, but I'm not feeling it, I take a moment to find something I'm grateful for. Like just like you said, find something in that other person, that you do like, and make that important to you. That was another big thing that came up in the last 24 hours to me is how important it is to understand the power you have in how you make other people feel.
Mhm.
That is such a big key for me that I always kind of knew, but all of a sudden it's coming up a lot. Like so the universe is telling me, okay, you know how to do this. You can make people feel good. Do it.
Yeah, a lot of times that comes from also from a position of being comfortable with yourself. I always tell people if you're not tied to an outcome, if I walk into a store and I say hello to someone or I compliment someone and I'm really needing reciprocity, I'm needing them to kind of give it back to me or be thankful that I complimented them. I'm really not doing it from a place of it could be genuine, but I'm doing it from a place of insecurity. If you're confident who you are and you're not really waiting for anyone else to determine the quality of your day, those interactions are great. They're fine. But I think a lot of people require that reciprocity where, I held the door open for you, you now have to say thank you to me or and again, when you're feeling comfortable and realizing you literally create your reality, you will be less apt to hand your thoughts and emotions off to other people.
Totally.
People get up every day and they put on the news and it starts to set them off, where they get stuck in traffic on the way to work and that sets them off, and then they run into someone at work who aggravates them, and we just hand over the quality of our day to just random things sometimes, or
Right.
things that we really could be better in control of handling. And
Right.
so it becomes just where people's lives just become rather boring and mundane. They're pissed off because it's Monday and Tuesday,
Right.
somewhat happy because it's Friday and Saturday, and then pissed off again because here we go again. It's Monday. How did Monday get here so quickly? Um, so those interactions are meaningful. People laugh. I always say I don't like to use drive-through windows at the places like Starbucks or McDonald's if I ever go there.
Mhm.
I prefer always to prefer to go into stores where I can have those human exchanges. And I think that we tend to sell those things short. I think that it's great to have those interactions with people that
Totally.
it's very meaningful. At least I
It
found them to be.
totally
I've
is.
made
But
friends and had great connections that way.
absolutely, but it's interesting you say that because I've become very aware of every morning I go to work and I go through the drive-through at Taco Bell because they have a little egg burrito and it's like just a wrap and an egg, so I feel like it's not fast food.
Mhm.
So I go and I'm always super nice to the person in the window and I say, hey, have a great day and this and that, and I certainly notice now when I come through they're smiling and they're saying it to me before I even say it to them. Like I've
Mhm.
already
Mhm.
had that energy exchange with them and they already know who I am. And it's, so, but you're right. The interpersonal interactions that we have with each other and how you make other people feel will just lift you up. If you can make other, it's just.
Look, you can't be up. You're not, no one's going to be up 24/7. I don't mean to say that I'm up and feeling wonderful and like I want to talk to people 24/7. And so maybe I do walk into a store now and then I just don't have it. I just want to get my stuff and get out. But I always try to let my clients know that you want to let your energy permeate the space. Let your energy be one that kind of because what happens in our society today so often is that we allow misery loves company, and we just let everybody pull us down to this whining and complaining and bitching and moaning. Whether I don't care if it's gas prices or COVID, or it's like, oh my God, it's like it's hard to stay above the water. And so everybody wants everybody to be pulled down to that, and it's so easy to go down into the muck and mire with everyone. But I don't really want to jump on the hole with everyone else. And I think it's better, people like yourself and me and others who are doing the type of work that we do. You got to hold your feet to the fire, man. You got to walk your talk.
Yeah.
You really want to be someone whose energy permeates whatever space you go to as best you can.
Yeah.
And there are times I'll go, look, you've probably gone to networking meetings. I've gone to networking things over the years. And there were times I would go and I didn't feel it. I didn't feel any good connections. And then I would pull like what I refer to as an Irish exit, where I just kind of make a quiet exit, Craig, goodbye. But, more often than not, I try to be someone whose energy, rises all boats, lifts the tide of all boats. And I think that's, we have to be conscious of that. And I don't try to do it in a phony way. I generally like people. I enjoy meeting people. I think sometimes I even enjoy small talk. I really just like getting to know people and getting to know their stories. And I'm not intimidated by people, and I don't really care if people like me or not, or I like people. I want people to like me. Don't get me wrong.
Right,
but
right.
my self-esteem isn't based on if someone likes me or not.
Right.
Not everyone's going to like you. In fact, the more successful you are, sometimes the less people like you.
Totally. I don't understand why you are just talking like everything that's coming out of you is like this amazing wisdom. You're just like, I don't understand why you're not this like prophet. Maybe you are, but I just want to I want to address some of the conversation we were talking about. Just this was way back when we were talking about the idea of woke being, people being like, oh, woke, that's a bad thing. Helen is saying, I'm happy I don't have to hide what I know anymore or dumb it down. And I think means because she's found a tribe of people who think woke is good, and understand that being awake is better than being asleep. So that's great. Jilly B was saying the ridicule of woke is a low vibe trigger. They have work to do, which I think is a good observation as well.
Yeah.
Deb on Hair is here saying hello. What's up, Deb? And now this made me a little sad. I don't know how to take this, but maybe you can help address Helen. I live like someone dressed as a clown carrying a big knife is going to jump out of every corner.
Yeah, that's not really a good way to go through life. You want to stop. You want to nip that in the bud.
Right, and that's a choice, right? I mean,
well, it is a choice, but after the years and years of studying and working with people and my own personal work, I've learned two basic things in life. One, there are no coincidences. Not a thing in life is a coincidence. Everything's happening for some intended positive purpose. I don't care if it's whether you stub your toe, whether you have a fender bender, whether you get pushed onto a detour when you're driving, whether you get fired from a job or a relationship breaks up. There's no coincidences. And the second one, people will say there's no coincidences all the time. I don't know if they believe it or not. They say it, but I believe it. But the next one is people have a hard time believing is that if there are no coincidences, number two, there are no negatives. Not a single thing in life is negative. And my belief, and again, no one ever has to believe what I believe, folks. This is my opinion and my opinion only. Go learn for yourself. It's in every self-help book you pick up. No one leaves this earth before it's their time to go. No one dies before. There's no such thing as a premature death. And the other thing is I want you to know is that we are eternal. It's not like I believe there's like, we are eternal beings. And I believe we can do this crap all over again if you want, maybe in different forms and different times and dates and places and different pockets of people if you want. But there are no coincidences. There are no negatives. And if you want to live your life like someone's going to jump out around the corner of the knife, you're going to live a scared existence. And according to the law of attraction, you're going to pull a lot of crap into your life, whether it's health. And just because you're scared of someone attacking you doesn't mean you're going to pull in an attacker. Now, you might, but you will pull in health issues. You might pull in issues of lack in terms of money and abundance, or you might pull in trouble with relationships.
Yeah.
And again, that there's no reason to go through life scared. But again, you have free will. Again, you can if you want. You can. I'm suggesting you don't. But you have to do what it takes to really live life with courage. There's what's my favorite saying? Like, if you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much space. And you really want to kind of live balls to the wall and go big or go home. All those silly things I can constantly say, but they say it kind of well. You want to if you first of all, if you think you only get 88 years or so or 90 years or so on this planet, then every day is valuable. You can't waste one.
Right.
And if you want to waste one being afraid or not doing what you want, then that's your choice. And again, people have work to do. And Helen's saying she doesn't really have control over her anxiety. I get it, but it traces back to childhood and the way you were raised, and whether you're made to feel safe or made to feel loved. And so she has to deal with the fact that she doesn't believe. See, if you have anxieties and fears, then she really doesn't believe what I'm saying. She likes it.
Right.
It says, I'd like to believe that, but I can't.
It's not taking root.
And I'm not meaning to say to Helen that there's a quick fix, that, hey, snap out of it.
Right.
I'm saying that there is work to be done and can be done. But you have to start to do every day at a time. Just do the things that kind of make you happy, that you enjoy doing. Spending time with people who empower you, reading the books that empower you, watching the programs that empower you. Julie B is right. Self-love and the inner child healing, a lesson, everything. Yeah. Self-love and inner healing. It really is. Everything is related to self-love. Now, most people don't really understand what self-love is. They think it's kissing their muscles or arrogance or conceit. It's not. That's the complete opposite of self-love. If you find that big A-type personality that has to have all eyes on me and I got to be the big man on campus or whatever, very often that's a rather insecure person.
Right.
They're looking for outside validation that they matter. But if you are someone who has self-love, when it's someone else's time to shine, you're more than happy to be their biggest cheerleader. But when it's your time to shine, you're able to do that as well.
Right. Totally.
And again, that's the whole thing of self-love. If you know thyself, going back to ancient Greek philosophy, know thyself. If you know yourself, you're not worried about being determined by others or how others define you or see you. Totally. It doesn't matter. If you said to me, boy, Stryker, you are a very intelligent Asian male, I'd be like, what the hell is this guy talking about? I'm not Asian. But people, we hear that stuff about ourselves all the time. We like, oh my God, I'm embarrassing myself. Oh, I got rejected.
Right. Totally. I want to just address Helen. Helen says she completely understands. She's getting stronger every day. Helen, we interact all the time, and you absolutely are. I see you stepping into your power and what you're doing. I was just talking to Jill about what you're doing with your parts, and that she had seen it online. She knew what it was. You are stepping into your power. So, and then you say, sorry, I mentioned it. Don't be sorry. That's the vicious cycle I think Stryker is talking about, is that when you say sorry I mentioned it because you feel bad that you did something wrong, you're kind of bringing that energy. That's the energy that you're putting out.
Yeah. Plus, you points like that on a conversation like this are relevant. It's really important because, Michael and I come in with things we want to say or maybe want to address, but there's some key points that I can always make around comments like that. So, and maybe I wouldn't have addressed that otherwise. So that's pretty cool.
Right. And even Jill saying it's a learning opportunity for you. And again, it's that quest for self-love. And
I don't mean to say that I got this all figured out. No one's got it all figured out. I'm still learning, and every one of us learns till the day we leave this planet. You're going to keep learning. And the moment you think you got it all figured out or that you're done, man, the universe is going to pull that rug out right from underneath you and say, you ain't no shit, man. You got a lot more to learn.
Totally. Amazing, man. Amazing stuff. Again, I'm just, I want to personally, like, kind of hire you or whatever, or see you for a bunch of things, not only like the hypnosis, which we haven't even talked about, but I feel like the energy that you give off and the way that you're speaking about what you're speaking about, which we're clearly both passionate about, like, you should be on a stage right now. You should be talking to a whole auditorium of people, because you approach it the way I feel like I do, which is it doesn't need to be so complex. It's not all about spiritual and other realms and all about this stuff. And not that that doesn't have anything to do with it. It certainly is a part of all that. When you
Sure.
even when you talk about consciousness, you're kind of giving into that idea, right? And I feel like you don't need to go so deep and understand, well, what is that consciousness? But you do need to understand how it works through you and how your existence is governed by yourself and the way you think.
Yeah, and look, I'm all about the spirituality. I would love to know about what happens when we're no longer in these physical forms, but I don't shortcut the idea that I consciously took this physical form, and there was a purpose for me taking this one. So I'm not constantly looking like, where did I come from? Why am I here? I came here to manipulate this physical reality, and while I'm in this physical reality, there are
Right.
things I came to do, and that's my consciousness. This is a part of my consciousness in this physical form, playing the role of Stryker Corbin in this lifetime. The greater part of
You're
my
killing it, man.
self is still in the energy realm,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
nirvana, heaven, call it what you want. But this is a part of me playing the role of Stryker Corbin, and while I'm here, I came to do some really cool things.
Totally.
And again, cool things could be just being a great father. It could be someone who just enjoys creating music. Cool things doesn't mean I have to solve world issues. Cool things mean I'm here and I'm finding joy. I'm finding where it really feels so satisfying and
Yeah, man.
fun and just feels great. And if everyone could define successful that way, as to what made you feel joyful, and
Right.
you just did every day what brings you great joy, more often than not, you're going to put your head down on the pillow at the end of the night and feel like that was a freaking good day, man. That was good, and you build a momentum. And when you find that type of situation that you just love who you're with or
Right.
what you're doing, or I don't know, the it's like the universe becomes your co-creator, right? And it drops the right people, the right opportunities, the right coincidences, even
Right.
though there are none, in your lap. And that's where you build that momentum. And it can be a really fun ride. Life can be a fun journey, but we have to stop telling ourselves life is hard, no pain, no gain. Uh,
Totally.
you know, as soon as you gotta stop playing. Can you top this with illnesses? And someone
Right.
says, my mom got COVID. Oh yeah, my uncle died
Totally.
last week, and then
Totally.
we do that. We do that all the time. So,
You
yeah.
seem like you're having a blast.
Yeah,
So
I, I have no complaints. I have it
that's
quite
great.
well. I really
That's
do
great.
have a great existence.
That's great. So you bring up something that I want to talk about, and that is you said I'm playing the role of Stryker Corbin. Tell us
Mhm.
about that a little bit, because I mean, is Stryker your born name?
Well, no, my born name was John. I'm named after my dad. I'm John Jr. And when I was a kid, my dad actually would use the name Stryker. My dad was in the Marines when I was a little kid, and I think he liked the movie The Sands of Iwo Jima with John Wayne. And I think the character's name in that was Stryker. And it was just a goofy nickname as a little kid. And then once I started to move into professional speaking, look, I'm a pretty spiritual guy, but I'm also a businessman. And in business, a lot of it it's about marketing. Okay. And if you Google hypnotist or life coach and you type in John, you're going to get several billion. You type in Stryker or Stryker Corbin, I'm the only guy coming up. And if I'm speaking in Atlantic City or I'm speaking in Reno or whatever, and you see that I'm the keynote speaker and the marquee says Stryker Corbin, that's, oh shit, that sounds like a guy I want to listen to. So you gotta, if you're selling anything, in this case, I'm selling myself. You have to make your product something that people really stand up and take notice of. When they introduce like a simple product like the Frisbee, I mean, there's research that goes into product names. And so I think Stryker is a much better name. It hits you in the face. You remember it. John, great name. I got no problem with it, but it's more the name of an accountant or something like that. So I didn't like going with that.
So, I mean, I was going to say, is it coincidental, right? That's a stupid way to start a sentence with you, but but like besides Stryker being the character's name and an old nickname, there's also like there's a physicality to it, right? I mean, it's like I feel like you're hitting me over the head with some real wisdom. You know what I mean? Like,
It just worked. It just worked for me on many levels.
Yeah,
Even my girls used to play soccer, and the striker was that position player out in front. Leading
right,
the charge down the field. So I was like, it's a no brainer. I'm going to use this.
right, right. So, I know we didn't even get to talk about, like, I know from your website, you're a hypnotherapist. That's part of what you do. I know motivational speaking, all those things. But let's talk about that piece by piece. Tell me about, is you do something specifically with hypnotherapy?
Yeah, well, when I was building my speaking business, I thought way back that what, maybe I like to do those stage hypnosis shows where they're like comedy shows, and you bring people up on stage and you put them under and they do goofy things, right? So when I went to learn about hypnosis, the instructors I learned from were saying that it's got great applications one-on-one for smoking, like weight loss, smoking, fear of public speak, getting over your fear of public speaking, things of that nature. And they kept stressing the mind-body connection. And it resonated with me. I had done a lot of long distance biking, swimming, and running. And I knew from those events that you can psych yourself out, you can psych yourself up. And I knew about that mind-body connection. So it was really pretty interesting. And then when you give a presentation in front of groups and audiences, inevitably, Michael, there were people that would line up and wanted to work with me one-on-one. And I realized that was a whole other area or avenue I could grow my business. So I started to work with people one-on-one. And hypnosis, I would talk to people. My first session is usually 90 minutes long. And I talk and I give my advice and my whole perspective on how they should think, feel, and act. And then we do a hypnosis session at the end. And that kind of cements the conversation home for them. And it's just been a great way to help people make relatively quick, easy changes,
Right.
whether it was stop smoking, whether it was just motivation. So it's been pretty cool. And the mind body connection for me is so true, that for me, that's what hypnosis is all about. Michael, people might come into my office and they fill out an intake form, and I ask them if they've ever used hypnosis before, and most of them say no, right? But then I have to explain to them that we've been hypnotized our entire lives. You just don't know it. You've heard things over and over and over again. Maybe you want to call it hypnotized or brainwashed. There are certain things you believe, and you have no idea if it's right or if it's true or not.
Right.
We have all these cultural myths, right, and it's all nonsense. And people have been living according to certain tenets and certain ways of life based on, they have no idea where that came from,
right,
and they just do it. And so I get people to think differently, and from your thoughts, when you take charge of your thoughts, and more importantly, Michael, the emotions you attach to those thoughts, then you're dealing with energy. Then you're starting to create the energy that creates your reality. People think absentmindedly all day. Like, I always tell people that I give this as homework assignment to every client that comes to see me, whether they come for weight loss or anything else. I want them to go the next 48 hours, and the people on here tonight, I know Helen's heard me say this a number of times because she's joined me for a few other programs. I tell everyone to go 48 hours without a negative or fear-based thought. And you're being very kind. You're nodding your head, yes, yes. But most people can't go 10 minutes.
right.
And it's not that you can't have a negative or a detrimental thought. I want you to be aware of how pervasive they are.
Right.
And give yourself a moratorium. Now, today is Thursday. We're taping this on a Thursday. So tomorrow's Friday and Saturday. And unless you're facing surgery or you're being shipped off to Afghanistan or some war zone, unless you're trying to get family in at the southern border, you really don't have much of an excuse not to put a moratorium on fear and worry, put it on a shelf for 2 days, and just let yourself be happy. Happy for, I could say no reason, but every one of us has hundreds, if not thousands of reasons to be happy. And
Right,
you have to, look, if you smoke cigarettes during the day, that's a habit. It's a physical habit. You're aware of how many cigarettes you have when you're smoking them. Your thoughts are just as habitual, but we don't think of it that way.
Right.
But if you want to stop smoking, you can't have a cigarette today, can't have a cigarette tomorrow, next week, and you build momentum. And the amount of time which you become a non-smoker is increasing. Right. If you can't create the reality you desire through your thoughts and emotions, you got to take it one day at a time, like a physical habit. You need to develop the traits that greats use.
Right.
No one ever promised a great. No one ever told Walt Disney, Oprah Winfrey, the Wright brothers they were going to be successful. No one ever told these people they'd be successful. In
Right.
fact, they told them the opposite. What you're trying to do can't be done. But these greats, these visionaries, Michael, they're visionaries. Why? Because they see it here first.
Yeah.
And they believe in themselves and they bring to fruition exactly what everyone else, experts, scientists, doctors say can't be done.
Right.
And so we have to, and that's going back to your question about hypnosis.
Yep.
Hypnosis really is getting into that focus. It's not a trance where you're a zombie, you don't remember anything. It's going into that focused state of mind where you are aware of how you're thinking, the emotions you attach to those thoughts, and most importantly, perhaps, what you believe about yourself and believe about life, reality, other people. We have a whole series of core beliefs, and most people's core beliefs are not serving them in creating the life they desire. Most people have core beliefs about wealth and abundance. You got to work your butt off. Money doesn't grow on trees. Got to be a bit of an SOB to. And if you're raised Irish Catholic like I was, like my dad was, you are not going to make a lot of money in your lifetime. You have too many mental and physical and emotional blocks to wealth and abundance. Until you get rid of them, you will constantly be doing a little dance with money.
Right. Right. Yeah. No, I think you brought up a good point of, you said this earlier, thinking negative thoughts, about somebody. It's like, for me, that makes me feel bad. I'm very aware of the energy that is associated with it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, ooh, I'm thinking this thought and I don't like how it feels. And it's really, like you said, a lot of people don't even realize it. It's like knee-jerk reactions to things, and
Mhm.
they've been just kind of told over the years that's how it's supposed to be. The suggestion of punching someone in the face to deal with it. Some people, like I said, believe that that's the way you deal with things. That's just the way it is, right? And it's
Right, right. But I think your negative thoughts and your negative emotions can become your default setting. And that's where you're not even aware of it anymore. And again, many of us, through no fault of their own, Michael, it's really not anyone's fault. People are raised as they are. And if you're raised with parents that tell you you got to get before someone takes it from you, it's a dog eat dog world. People are just miserable and they're going to rip you off. If that's what you hear from a young age, you are going to grow up a certain way.
right,
And you will, and it'll be a hard task for anyone to convince you otherwise,
right,
because that's your reality. That's what you focus on expands. Michael, tell people all the time, if you think life sucks and then you die, I can't argue with you. You're going to
right.
find all the evidence to prove your point.
Exactly. Totally.
What you focus on expands. So if you think people are, if you're single and you're trying to meet someone and you say all the good ones are taken, blah blah blah, I can't argue with you.
Right.
These things become self-fulfilling prophecies. Self-fulfilling prophecies. And I'm telling you, you might think it's trite, you might think it's simple and inane, but if you're saying those things to yourself, you better stop. You better stop, because the universe just holds up a big mirror and it reflects right back at you. Whatever you project is exactly what you get. So if you don't think you're anything special, don't expect anyone else to.
Right.
If
Oh,
you think it's hard to make
amazing.
money, it will be.
So simple, right? And it's like, it's so amazing, so powerful what you're saying. And I wish I had a bell. I got to get a bell. Ding, 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 ding. We have a ripple uh, happening. Deb on hair says, I needed to hear this. So boom, there you go. Exactly. That's exactly how it works, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's amazing. And it's really true when you are aware of it and you start to see how how your thoughts become reality, how you are really in control of things. I would love to know, because I feel like I'm a pretty smart guy, pretty spiritual, pretty grounded. I definitely am open-minded. And I just recently tried some hypnosis, and it was a great session with Kelly Talixon, who was a guest a few weeks back, and
Mhm.
it was a great session. I had some emotional response, and there was a lot of insight given, but I don't feel like I went very deep. And Kelly said to me, she says, "No," she says, "You're tough. You didn't go very deep." Um,
Mhm.
is there any advice you have for someone who feels like, I mean, everything you're saying, Striker, is how I live my life, what I believe.
Mhm.
Um, am I just saying it?
Well, going back to what you said, when you can't go very deep, it's like anything else. You got to keep doing it. You can't run a marathon. I can't run a marathon tomorrow, but if I wanted to, I could get there.
Right.
The first time I ever tried yoga, I just embarrassed myself,
True. Right.
but I stuck with it, and I got to admit, I got pretty damn good at it. It's like anything else. Hypnosis, meditation. Yeah, you'll probably only drop your level of suggestibility a slight bit the first time you're using it
Right.
because you're still on guard. You don't know what to expect. You think there's some type of hocus pocus, or I don't know. Maybe you think you're gonna get made to do something against your will. I don't know. Like anything
I
else,
don't know either. Yeah. I mean,
it
I
it
want to
it's
dive in.
it's stick with it. It's stick
Right.
with it. It's
That's
and
what
and
Julie's saying.
again,
Practice.
and yeah, practice. She's right. And the thing here is that you don't be tied to an outcome. Never be tied to an outcome.
Yeah.
And
Maybe it.
it's so funny. I always tell people all the time, if you've ever gone for a job interview where you didn't need or didn't want the job, you know what happens in that case? Most cases, you get the job.
Right.
You're easy in the interview. You're telling people what they want. What is right, not what necessarily what they want to hear. If
Right.
if you meet someone at 7-Eleven and they're not all, you don't think they're all that attractive, or maybe they're very old, or you'll have a nice conversation, a good rapport. You'll be witty. You might tell a stupid joke if you're me. But if that person you perceive as extremely attractive, they're like a 10 or 11, and now that person comes over next to you and you're like, you're tied to an outcome. I don't, like that person, like, them. They could be the biggest schmuck in the
Right.
world, but you've
No, that's
already
so brilliant.
determined they're like, this is the perfect being for me. Based on what? And now
Right.
you're acting like a moron because
Right.
they're so damn beautiful. I don't, but again, this is what it is. When you're tied to an outcome, like if you do hypnosis or meditation, very similar. Hypnosis is like guided meditation. If you do those and you just let yourself be,
Right.
let yourself experience whatever your experience is meant to be in that moment. And you'll see that it gets better and better and a little bit more natural. It's actually a very natural state.
You know what? We're gonna have to talk because I think I'm gonna come see you and do a little work with you because hypnosis has been very intriguing to me, even though I feel like I haven't been there. And I think you just hit it on the head. I think I can remember. It's not necessarily tied to an outcome because I don't like have a specific outcome other
Mhm.
than being successfully hypnotized. And
Mm.
I think I can remember laying there and it's very meditative. I definitely get into a nice meditative state and like I said, I had an emotional reaction. But I think I'm probably asking myself, "Am I there yet? Am I there yet?"
Yeah, yeah, that's what you do. Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
Am I
So
deep enough? Am I listening? Oh wait, I forgot. I wasn't paying attention to what he said. Now I got to go back to that. Yeah, I've been there. We've all been there, and that's the job of the hypnotist. One, to kind of bore you and to
yeah,
just say the right things to you that get yourself out of your own way. You got to get out of your own way,
right,
and you cannot mess it up. You can't mess it up. You can only mess it up if no one can hypnotize you if you don't want to be hypnotized. Can't hypnotize someone against their will. Maybe someone in shock or someone in scene of an accident. You can because they're in a state of frenzy, and if you say relax, they're like, but people who are dead set against being hypnotized, if you ever go see a stage show, what's very interesting, they'll start off with a large group up on stage, but little by little, the hypnotist might be sending people back to their seats because they just can't reach that somnamblistic state that they need for a stage show. But in a one-on-one session, I get everyone to kind of reach the state that I need to do. It's basically the state of daydreaming.
right.
Just daydreaming. Michael, the best equivalent I can give you is a highway hypnosis. If you've ever been driving your car, right? And you're just driving your car and you weren't thinking like, oh crap, did I miss my exit? But no, you didn't miss your exit. No, you didn't drive off the road. Your thoughts were just kind of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
ruminating and you were still operating your vehicle
Yeah.
perfectly fine.
Right. No, many times I went to school in Hartford. I had to drive back and forth, and many times I'd be like, "Where am I? Wait, am I heading to Hartford or am I heading back to Long Island?" Like, and
Yeah,
forget
yeah,
like, what I was
yeah.
doing. I totally get that. Totally. Wow, amazing. Um, so, um, tell me a good hypnosis story without revealing details that you're not supposed to. Have you ever had an experience that like really blew your own mind?
One of the earliest experiences I had was very interesting when I was first starting. Maybe the first 2 years I was into this, I had this, and this is where I learned what hypnosis really was and wasn't. I had this guy come in. He was a very large man, and he came to stop smoking. He smoked 3 packs of cigarettes a day. And he came in and he instantly said, I'm going to need 3 sessions. And he prepaid for 3 sessions because he knew he smoked 3 packs. I've tried to quit forever. I can't do it. And he came in and he was big. He couldn't even lay in my recliner. I have a nice comfortable recliner. He was too big for that. So he had to stay in the chair in which our conversations were taking place in. And I'm trying to get him relaxed, and he's sweating and he's flopping around. And I'm like, oh my God, I said, he's right, man. That's going to take 3 sessions easy with this guy. You know, he's like, they can't get him relaxed. And he's just, and we do the session and he leaves. And I'm like, oh, okay. So he comes back 2 weeks later. He was supposed to come back a week later. We had to cancel and come back 2 weeks later. And I said, hey, so how you doing? He goes, great. I said, well, what does great mean? He goes, I haven't had a cigarette since I seen you. I'll never have another one. Maybe we could work on weight loss with the remaining 2 sessions.
Wow.
And I said, whoa. I said, damn, I learned something there, because I never would have. I said, I thought people had to reach that deep kind of zombie-like state where if I picked up their arm, it just dropped. But when people are ready to quit, or ready to make a change, and that's why I like my pre-talk so much, because I've had people who says, you know what, I don't even think we need to do the hypnosis right now. I'm done. You can, I hear what you're saying, but we'll do the hypnosis. But you can actually, once people make up their mind, like if we can do it in a conversation, it's great. Hypnosis, just what it does is it's like when we're having a conversation, Michael, there's a give and take. I say something, you think about what I'm saying, you come up with your reply. So there's a give and take. You're thinking, you're cognizant there, you're present. But in hypnosis, I just want you to stop and just listen to me. I'm not going to say anything that goes against your moral code or character. I'm not going to say anything that goes against why you came to see me. That would piss you off. I'd be out of business. Doesn't make any sense. But when you drop your resistance and you just hear positive messages, you are, you can, or I am, and you're in that calm, kind of focused, like highway hypnosis state, or listening to a wonderful song, and you just get in that position of where you learn those 3 principles of I am amazing. I'm unique. I'm funny. I am someone who could do whatever he puts his mind to. I can become wealthy. I can lose weight. I can. And at the basis of it all is, I got this. Right. And the moment someone says to themselves, I got this, that's when they're not trying to make changes. They have become the change.
Right. Wow.
And that's the key to everything. If you want to be wealthy, you can't try to be wealthy. You can't, you have to be wealthy. And I'm not asking you to go out and buy a Ferrari tomorrow, but I'm asking you to start to feel abundant in all forms of abundance. You can't say, I'm gonna be healthy, but you got to be healthy. I'm healthy. Michael, I never get sick. I can't tell you the last time I've been sick where I needed to go to the doctor or have anything, gone for less than a COVID test. But I'm not worried about my health and well-being. I exercise on a regular basis. I love to be active. I think I eat right 99% of the time, but I don't eat a lot. Food's not that important to me in my life, I guess. But I know that the mind-body connection controls how I feel. I know that I'm in harmony, man. I have no drama in my life. I like what I do. I love who I've surrounded myself with. And when I'm in harmony, the cells in my body are in harmony. And that's the best thing you could ever do for your immune system. That's it. When you're in harmony, no stress, no fear, no drama, man, everything's functioning the way it's supposed to.
Right. Awesome. No, you're so in tune and so you're so authentic. Like everything that you're saying is so, I don't feel like you're selling anything. Like I feel like it's just authentic. Like it's just you and it's just real and I can feel it. And again, I'm so glad I invited you to the show because I definitely want to, talk more and work with you a little bit, on myself. And you're also very inspirational. I think I want to be able to articulate the things that I feel like I am articulating here, but to that level, I feel like you've raised the level a little bit. You know what I mean?
That's very nice. That's very nice of you.
I feel like you're me on 11. You know what I mean? Or even on 15. You know what I mean? which is really awesome. It's so good to know that people like you are out there, people like Karen, and I will say, even though I have had a few experiences with this is not related, this is going backwards a little bit. I have had a few experiences with hypnotism. I went to Glen Dove for a past life regression. I did a session with Karen one weekend at one of the Spiritual Billionaires weekends,
Okay.
and I have never felt like I've gotten there, but I have always felt like I've gotten something out of it, and I've always
Hmm.
felt grateful for the experience. You know what I mean? It's always been,
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of being, I think, spiritual, is just understanding that everything is an experience, and you've got to, you got to see the reason to find gratitude in it.
No, that's so true. And that's the thing too. We have to be patient, right? You don't ask a kindergarten kid to do algebra. We realize there is a learning curve. There are steps that, we may not want to take all the steps, but there's definitely opportunities for us to grow in our level of awareness. There are levels of awareness. And if you and I had this conversation 10 years ago or 20 years ago, it would probably be a very different conversation.
Yeah,
But that's how it evolves. That's how it grows. And and I'm very fortunate, Michael. I know this because I get to have these conversations almost on a daily basis with clients. And if you really want to know anything, well, teach it. You don't know anything until you have to teach it to someone else. And so that helps as well. When you walk your talk, you speak what inspires you, you kind of, continue to read and watch videos and listen to things that inspire you. You may just think it's repetition, but it's not. Repetition is wonderful. That's really how you learn. That's how you get to really bring it home for yourself. Every self-help book you pick up says the same thing, perhaps, but they use different examples, different words. And I've read books by Tony Robbins. Do I love everything? No, but I take one or two things away that, wow, I really like that. Or I've read things by Abraham Hicks, or listen to a podcast by them. I'm like, do I love everything? No, but I got this. I love that. Oh, I never heard that analogy before. So it resonates, and it just continues to keep you in that high vibe.
right,
And
right.
that's it's fun. It really is. It's cheesy, Michael, but it really is about the journey. That's the key thing. You know,
Amazing. And that's a big part of it. Hold on, I meant to put this up at the beginning. If anybody wants to know anything more about Stryker, and what he does, and book a session, there's his website. I meant to have that going the whole time. I'm sorry. Um, but what was I going to say now? Oh snap! I forgot what I was just going to say. That's been happening to me a lot lately. I think I'm just
that's all
getting
right.
it, but it's all good. Well, so what I was going to say was, again, so important and so evident in your being, which is why I think I'm enjoying you being here and just even talking, is because of your awareness of it's the journey. You know what I mean? Your awareness of being able to kind of take it seriously to the point you have to, and not take it seriously to the point you have to, and
Mhm.
just be. You know what I mean? Just
Right.
be. Like I was saying, we don't have to find the answer to what is consciousness. Well, like you said, what happens after this? Like, you don't need to find out what happens after this. You'll find out then. You're here
Yeah,
now.
that's
You
part of
gotta
it. Yeah.
be here now, and
Yeah.
just even understanding that is just so amazing to share that vibration with you and with the viewers, and to be that vibration. I mean, out in public, which is, again, you're like me, which I know I'm that vibration. You're like on 15. So are you doing a podcast, or are you doing any public
I,
speaking soon, or
I
any?
what I do is I do well. I have my course on. I have two courses on Udemy. I have one for weight loss on Udemy, and I do another one on what is hypnosis and hypnotherapy on Udemy.com. I have those. Lately, I started to do programs on Clatch. It's getclatch.com, and they're like this. It's courses. I've done courses on the law of attraction and manifesting your desires on Clatch, and so that's a relatively new endeavor. So that's like this. I've done a few of those now, but I have presentations. I have organizations that hire me to speak for their organization. It's coming back. COVID really put the kibosh on a lot of my public speaking
Yeah,
business. It's coming back, not as quickly as maybe I would like, but maybe I got to start amping it up again myself. But I'm kind of having fun, so I'm not really chasing business right now because I'm enjoying what I'm doing, and yeah. But I also have my free app. The audience can always get my free app, and it's free. Download it for your iPhone or Android device. There's a motivational message on each day, and then I have free self hypnosis recordings on there. They're anywhere from 8 to 10 minutes long, and I made them short so they're usable, they're doable. So there's a lot of different ways that I'm kind of staying active as best I can.
awesome. So tell me a little bit more about this app. It's just kind of like a tool
Oh,
to just.
it's a tool that if you go to
I
Striker
have
Corbin
the
dot
app. I have the app, but I want you to.
yeah.
give
I
us
just
the
wanted
spiel.
I
I
wanted
want
to
you
be a
to promote it.
resource where I wanted to be a resource where people go on and they can kind of see the motivational message of the day. And then what's doable is down here, I got some videos I like that you can look at, but on the audios, these are little self-hypnosis recordings that, whether it's manifest your desires, live life with passion and style, attract what you want, lose weight, a midday power boost, become fearless. When people come to work with me one-on-one, I give them like a 20-minute self-hypnosis recording they can use whenever they want. But a lot of times people don't have 20 minutes during the middle of the day or sometimes in the morning. And I say, well, use it at bed, fall asleep, at night, fall asleep with it on.
Right.
But I like sometimes a day can be so much better if you set your intention for the day. So if you get up each morning and maybe you journal and you write down some things or some questions you want to answer yourself, and you have a cup of coffee, and then with my app, you listen to Become Fearless. So if you tap that one, it's The Greatest Detriments, about 7 minutes long. And so you sit there and you hear that for 7 minutes, and then you go work out and you take your shower. You've set your intention for the day. So my app helps people basically set their intention for the day or midday or at night. And I got a lot of free ones. I always add new recordings. I'm overdue to add a few new ones, but I got a lot of free ones on here already.
Well, I hope I've inspired you to add some new ones. So you're calling them self-hypnosises, but would it be fair to say it's kind of like a mini guided meditation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I
exactly.
think that's where I was like, oh, and that's probably why I didn't really click on them. I'm like, oh, I don't need to be hypnotized right now. But if I knew they were little mini meditations, I would have probably gone through all of them.
Yeah, you got to amp up your curiosity, man. You say, let me
Man,
push that.
no, I'm looking forward to it now. I got some stuff to some material to help. I think I was talking to Jill today earlier about I went through this period where I was doing guided meditations every week, or once every 2 weeks, or regularly. I was exercising with other people, my spirituality and just the my state of mind and my awareness, you know what I mean, and my mindfulness. And I got to this point where I felt like, oh wow, I've totally changed. I'm like in this great space, and I am, and I'm doing some great things, but I'm suddenly feeling like, hey Mike, you got to get back to, kind of walking the walk and talking the talk, which I do because I'm me, but really these things I think will help. So I'm actually excited, and I appreciate you bringing up the app. I totally forgot that I had it. I
Yeah.
downloaded it a while back and
Cool.
checked it out a little bit, but now I'm going to recheck it out. Awesome. So, oh wow, we're a little over an hour. I didn't even realize it was an hour. You're so awesome to talk to, Stryker. I would love to talk to you after the show. So can I just do my outro? Can I leave you in the green room for a second and talk to you, and we can, say goodbye
Put
to
me
you
in the
now?
green room. Yeah, you can do it whatever you like.
Thank you so much, everybody. Stryker Corbin, amazing. Again, his information's on the bottom of the screen. I'll talk to you in a minute. I just want to say goodbye to everybody. Wow. Oh, so blessed, so grateful to have these amazing conversations. I feel the seeds being planted in my brain, thoughts that I have. It's like he's watering those thoughts, and they're growing because, we all know all of this stuff. It's all inside of us. And it's people like Stryker and Karen and Kelly and all of the amazing guests I have that just help us all remember our connection and exchange energy with us on this platform. It's been amazing. Jilly, great energy. Ninja Kitty, amazing show. Thank you guys so much. Deb, thank you so much for being here. I will see you guys again next week. I do have a guest set up for next week, but I don't have the calendar in front of me. You know what? Just follow me online and you will see. I do need people to subscribe to my YouTube channel. So if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe. This way I can do some more things with the channel. I just need a certain amount of subscribers and views, and comment. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think of the song at the beginning of the show. Do you like it? Does it pump you up? Is it too heavy and obnoxious? I want to know. All right. I will see you guys next week. I love you all for being here. Peace.